Conniff softly said as Lorgin dissolved into the swirling mists. How long Lorgin had been traveling he knew not. What he did know was that his journey was far from over when he was suddenly and powerfully yanked out of the space-time continuum. Chapter 1. It had been a horrible day. Horrible. First, she'd been fired from her job. Laid off. Amounted to the same thing. Strange how being overqualified hurts you when you're applying for work, but doesn't help you when you're given the sack. It was just the beginning of a day that would live in infamy. On the train leaving the city, she thought herself lucky to spot a seat, an occurrence that came around with the frequency of Halley's Comet. Naturally, she dived right for it. Into a seat of something wet. It was not pleasant, and it smelled. She stood quickly enough, but the damage had been done. At least she'd been wearing her raincoat. Not that it had had the decency to rain, yet. Thankfully, her person was relatively dry, though the coat wasn't. It stunk. People were giving her strange looks, putting as much space as possible between her and themselves. In Deanna's present mood, this suited her just fine. When she got off the train, the last stop, of course, she removed the offensive coat and impulsively threw it in a trash receptacle. She was just in that frame of mind. Her troubles were only beginning. Just as she reached her car, she had the good fortune to see two cars back into each other in the parking lot. Their bumpers crunched and unbelievably locked together. Both drivers, being courteous and polite Boston commuters, exited their cars like wild bulls at a rodeo, snorting and stamping while circling their automobiles. Deanna didn't have to guess whose car they were blocking in the lot. When the police finally came, she was informed she would have to wait for the tow trucks to clear the space. At rush hour, they estimated a good 45 minutes. As she looked around for a place, any place to escape to, her eyes lit on a small, decrepit-looking resale shop across the street. She headed for it like a person who had just discovered they had hit the lottery, and that was where they had to collect. As she entered the store, a bell tinkled over the door. Observing the seedy interior, Deanna revised her original evaluation and demoted it from resale to junk shop. Cartons were piled haphazardly everywhere. Books, old furniture, glassware, broken toys. They haunted the room like the ghosts of consumers' pasts. At least it was blessedly quiet in here. As she was viewing this white elephant graveyard, a curtain in a doorway parted, and an old geezer wearing a Red Sox baseball cap sauntered out. "Got caught in the commuter blizzard, did ya?" His eyes crinkled at the corners, and he smiled. He seemed like a nice old guy. "How did you guess?" "Happens all the time. Keeps me in business. Do you want to look around?" This was said in a hopeful voice. "Sure, why not?" Deanna turned, and walking toward the rear of the long, narrow store, started looking through what could only be called trash. She thought of her now-defunct job. Here I am, Deana Jones, 26-year-old soon-to-be bag lady. Better get used to this, she lamented. After about a half hour, she did find an interesting necklace, sort of. It was under about 5 cartons of junk, but Deanna had had a feeling there might be something good under there. She held the necklace up to the dim light. It was tarnished and dirty, made of metal. It was a collar-type necklace which reminded her of a torque from the days of King Arthur. In the center of the band was a dark, rough-shaped stone, which seemed to be black, although it was hard to tell in the poor lighting. She scrutinized it more carefully. Yes, it might polish up quite nicely, although she doubted it was silver and couldn't find any stamping on it. She brought it to the front of the store and placed it on the scruffy countertop. "How much for this?" she asked the proprietor. The old man picked up the necklace and eyed it with distaste. "You want to buy this?" As if no one in their right mind would. Deanna immediately defended it. "It's not that bad." He looked at her incredulously. "Okay, it is that bad. How much?" He shook his head, the enormity of the task of trying to put a price on it overwhelming him. Finally, he said tentatively, 50 cents? Sold. Deanna slapped 2 quarters down.